What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 19 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Tzarina Katarin Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we continue to advance through the Mountains of Morn, dishing out damage to Grimgor's Ardboys' faction, just Grimgor's faction, and taking Kirik Vorag in the process, which was one of his main territories that remained, and where he was pumping Black Orcs out of. I don't know whether he has... Okay, he does have another territory at Karakazorn, which could be an issue for us, as he does have the rest of his territories up here, and we'll need to figure out how to deal with him. We are also advancing through, well, sort of the middle of the Chaos Waste. It's kind of interesting. We have like a, I don't know, like an ice vein through the Chaos Waste here, while a bunch of enemy factions are still around us, and we should expand into these territories, but we can't declare war on the on Tamarkan for another 7 turns, or he'll do it for us, most likely. Anyway, in terms of what we got to do this particular turn, Victor Zambin, you still have to move, sir. I guess we do still have moves to make. Go right here to the edge of this territory. You don't actually need to heal, so the question is, do we get more mileage out of raiding? Or do we get more mileage out of, let's see, 293? That's not horrible. Actually, you know what? It's... wait. 700, that's actually a fair bit of money. I was about to say maybe the better choice would be to channel. Yeah, the better choice is to channel, probably. Just go here, stay in our own territory, channel a little bit. Just because this army had completely lost its mana. Hopefully there's a tech that'll increase our mana generation as well. Anyway, Madoran Asinov. Ah, yeah, so you guys. You were chasing around Mr. Bastion and Nightbane, weren't you? Here's a question. Wait. Yeah, you're nearly done with what you were building, and you will be transferring the rest to Castelton. I'm now wondering whether we should actually keep the couple of Streltsy here, just so that this army essentially can operate on its own, and just transfer the Episcop Battalion. And we can always build more Streltsy from the other army. Especially since Castalton's coming next turn, we wouldn't actually be slowed down in any way. Yeah, I like that idea. Alright, so Madoran Asinov, you are going to... Wait. Now you are going to transfer all of this to Madoran, and then you're going to march stance all the way here to transfer the single Episcop Battalion and to Castalton. You... Madoran are probably going to take attrition, but you're going to go right to the edge of the Pillar of Skulls, and hopefully they either attack you or attack the pillars. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he won't be too scared because of the presence of the Streltsy, but anyway, we shall see. Okay, Madoran's good. Yorogne. You, sir, are going to march stance... I guess as far as you can go, we're going to head you all the way to Granite Spikes and start taking territory up there, while Beledna the Defender is going to keep following you for a little bit. She's next on the menu in terms of building the building up her army.
The blizzard.
And we still have her army to do, which is probably going to be Ice Guard and ice creatures of various types, as in elemental bears and frost worms, and maybe a few other things that we can pop in there, depending, as well as the Griffin Legion army, or to a degree, cavalry and other... I don't know if we'll make a full cavalry army or just part cavalry. I mean, we do have a lot of options in terms of cavalry, to be fair, in this particular faction. And they can be combined with war sleds and stuff should we desire to do so. But anyway, that'll be for later. We still can't really afford them if we want to keep above 10k, but I expect within the next few episodes we'll be able to. You, sir, I was gonna move you to Winterpire, but I think for now it's not a good idea. We're not to Winterpire, to this guy. But I guess you can't reach him anyway, so it doesn't matter. Alright, so just stay there, and... oh, I guess that's it for this turn. Alright, well then I guess we can just see what happens here. Ooh, I also wanted to get you an item. Igor Talichev. So what do you have right now? You have a Charmed Shield for emergencies if you get hurt, because you're not going to be particularly effective in melee, at least not as much as a Boya or something like that. What do we have in terms of spare items? Informant Kislev Kosser. Okay, you have your ancillaries. I guess we can see what other ancillaries. You don't get the Razor Standard. Your speed's at 60. We could give you the other Steel Standard so that you're... Yeah, you know what? I like that. We give you that because you're eventually going to get Vanguard deployment of your own. In fact, we could get it right now. Speaks to the Forest. It will cost us the 15% spell resistance on the army, which is nice. But regen for both of our Hag Witch heroes, as well as Vanguard deployment for you personally. Meaning, you don't really need the standard of the empty step anymore, and we could give that to somebody else. And you can use the steel standard to run around. War Banner. Good for war sleds, but also good for maybe the archers, good for hag witches, who are melee and range as well. Yeah, take a war banner. Why not? Anything else? Do we need the gleaming pennant? What do we have here? Father Nicholas's mantle. Missile resistance, Strider, and speed. I wonder, would Tzarina Katarin prefer Strider over the 30% speed offered by the Steel Standard? Hard to say. Damn, I have a lot of the Scarecrow banners. Anyway, I wasn't actually looking here. I wanted to see what kind of items we have. So we do have Spare Swords of Executioner, Spare Executioner Axe, and Spare Sword of Bloodshed, but those are for melee heroes. Blizzard Brooch I haven't really found a use for because of the stock and Unspottable. Don't really care about it. I think we'll put this on a Frost Witch hero, Ice Witch hero. Actually, Lord, not hero. A Stalking Unspottable Frostworm, because they have Frostworm mounts, might be nice. You also have Van Horstman's Speculum. We could give this to you for now. I generally put these on support units, but yeah, sure. These are for more fighty lords, like Castalton and stuff. That's also for Castalton, I believe. Sort of anti-heroes, I would give it to you, but you have the Tormentor Sword. Okay, there's nothing really. We don't have enough spare items at this point to give him anything other than the Van Horstmans, so I guess we're fine. Alrighty, Garrison Lord not moved and assigned skill points. Building upgrade available. We don't have the money to upgrade that. Well, we do have the income, or the devotion to upgrade it, rather. But I think we'll save it for now, for the next Salyak, or for the next whatever, Dodge. Let's end the turn. Let's hope that Bastion decides to attack that little army now, since that we've removed some of the troops from it, but we shall see.
Like the motherland.
Carl, what you want? Military alliance. Are we ready for a military alliance with you as yet? I mean, it will increase our allegiance point generation, and there's a few things we do want from the Empire. I was originally thinking the land ships would combine nicely with the ice sleds, but they're also probably going to be insanely expensive. Outriders could be quite useful, and probably nowhere near as expensive as well. On the other hand, this will probably force us into some unnecessary wars. You know what, I think for a little bit longer we'll go for the defensive lines. We're still generating defensive points after all, or allegiance points rather. But we'll do that eventually. We've just started to push the enemy back. Let's not get cocky and and get into more wars. Crystal Spires have been besieged. I take it Epidemius has arrived over there. Indeed he has, and well, there's not much we can do about it, but we also don't really care about the place, so not a big deal. Great Incantation of Xar, and Castelton has returned. Alright, so we'll start with Kosti, and Wulfric disappeared. He was right here. Okay, that's concerning. Yeah. Car, head out here. Can you spot us a Wulfric, please? Do we have ancillaries that increase your campaign's sight range? Because, yeah, your base sight range isn't big enough. Okay, let's see what we have in terms of ancillaries. Distillers, tax collectors. This is enemy hero success chance. You're just there to act as a scout. I fear you got nothing for sight range. We do have an increase of sight range. Oh, free hedge wizard that I haven't applied. We do have a free sight range in... Oh, campaign line of sight for Makshina Informants. We've got one on Madorinasinov. Oh, this is giving movement range as well. So these should be on Lords only. Well, darn. And they are on Lords only, as we can see. Alright, fine. Sorry, no additional sight range for you. What I was saying is there is a sight range increase to the Frost Maidens, but there isn't one for you. Now, Putrid Scum. My nickname in college. You've moved to the Altar of Spawns. Huh. That's interesting. Okay, hey, we got our first Kshina ambusher. It's been a while. Oh, I've been waiting to start naming you guys. Had a Kshina name suggestions for a long time. Democracy Suppression Squad. That won't fit. Okay. Or a Sup Squad. Supper Squad? Democracy Supper Squad? Wait, dots don't work, do they? Democracy Suppress Squad. There we go. Good enough. Good enough. Anyway, what I really wanted to see was this. Oh, he didn't move. You little not coward. For once. He is in raiding camp stance. He certainly outnumbers these guys, but I think we should be okay. How much does it cost to cast a single blizzard? Not the overcast, the regular version. 18 mana, so if we blob them up, we can get a single blizzard going in the middle of them. This is still going to be very dangerous, for obvious reasons. But imagine we could pull it off. Go for it. Wait. Motherland stance gives us... Oh, just the campaign line. I say, it doesn't really do anything for us, does it? Go Motherland stance anyway. Give it a try. Alright, Valiant defeat. Very possible, depending on how long the Kislevite warriors are able to hold the line. Maybe I should have done a few more. Well, we don't really have any spare items, so we'll have to do with what we've got. These guys don't have any abilities, though, which is great. Give it a try.
We could kill them in our sleep.
Alrighty, here we go. Little tiny army with a random pile of units. The enemy certainly outnumbers us, and we'll have to be careful. The win will probably rely on dropping that blizzard upon the enemy at the right time, and allowing our Streltsy with Bardishas to fire. Now, the Bardish Streltsy, I think, are a little bit... I think the regular Streltsy have 140 range, and the Bardish Streltsy have 160 range, unless I'm mistaken, so a little bit heavier range at the cost of no armor-piercing damage, or less armor-piercing damage on their melee attacks. Only 10. They still have that bonus versus a large, though, so if the enemy decides to charge forth, that'll still be useful. Let's see how that works for him. Alright. I do like those big old guns of theirs, and the Bardishas as well, I suppose. And it looks like they'll be using them first on the enemy Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, who are sort of riding around trying to flank us, or perhaps sort of screen the advance of the enemy army. Depends, but we should be able to start taking shots at them now. There we go. The 2 units of Streltsy and the Kossars from behind them will start laying down bullet and arrow fire while we wait for the enemy army to arrive, which is drawing close. We are going to try to move our Kislevite warriors to protect our Streltsy so that they can hopefully hold off the enemy horsemen on the flank. Alright, I really want to try out an army full of Streltsy and see how that works. Which we will do with Castelton. See how well these guys do, with a sufficient number of buffs, both in melee and in range. Back in the day, the Streltsy, I don't remember if I mentioned this before, Streltsy had a kind of issue with their melee attack that made them worse in melee than they should have been. I don't remember exactly what it was, something to do with their splash damage or something like that, but anyway. I wonder if that's still the case. And besides, stats are very much different in SFO. I do like the way that the Bardishas are used to allow these guys to sort of prop up their rifles. Alright, get another few volleys into the enemy. They do take a while to reload, but they hit hard and pierce armor by virtue of it. The Marauder Horsemen have about half of their HP remaining, or the second unit of Marauder Horsemen have the half of their HP remaining, and the other one is pretty much down. Done. Out here, the Kislevite warriors are attempting to hold off as best they can the piles of enemy Marauders, and the Daja's Hearthblades will be the real ringers of this battle. Fire damage dealing great sword Zargard, and looking pretty good at that. Alright, gonna activate those buffs on us and see how much damage those dodges Hearthblades can do. Already at 111 kills and probably out-damaging everybody else by a fairly wide margin here. Looks like the enemy did make its way around us. The enemy lord has fallen, surrounded by the dodges Hearthblades and by our and chased down by our lord here. And it's finally time to activate the blizzard just as the enemy marauders with great weapons loop around and start hitting this poor unit of Kislevite warriors in the back. This does meaning popping the blizzard on top of our own Kislevite warriors, but it's a sacrifice that anyone would make for the motherland. And while they will be destroyed by the looks of it, so will I think 4 of the enemy units, or at the very least so heavily damaged by the high damage blizzard spell that should carry the day. There we go. Yeah, 4 units very heavily damaged and are routing off the field there. More space opened up for the Dodge's Hearthblades to charge forth and dish out additional damage. We are still fighting on the flanks, however the Kislevite warriors there are still holding, and now that the Marauder Horsemen and the other unit of Marauder Spears here have moved away, we can move our Streltsy in to start firing into the flanks of the enemy. The other enemy unit of Marauders that attempted to flank us did get gunned down by the Streltsy. The Dodge's Hearthblades are quickly working their way through the other Marauders, and by the looks of it, ooh, I love those burning blades. Kind of like the opposite unit to the, or the counterpart unit, I don't know, to the Watchman in the Night. Twin Ice Blades versus Fire Greatsword. Anyway, looks like these guys are booking it on out of there. The balance power is at about 70% in our favor now. Nice little charge into the flanks of the Hearthblades with the Marauder horses, but I don't think they're going to be strong enough in melee to really be a threat to these guys. And especially with the Patriarch leading. Alright, balance of power. Well, they're still fighting. They're still fighting, but the enemy are still gunning down. Another one of our units of Kislevite warriors are basically done for, but we don't really care what happens to them. Disposable units as they are. A nice volley from our Streltsy into the flanks of this other Marauder unit, as we charge our Lord in, who has taken quite a bit of damage in this battle, but we're looking to be pretty okay. Certainly have range superiority here. I'm not, well, I guess since the enemy had no spells, we had spell superiority as well, even though it was only a single spell that was used. But what a spell. 49 kills perhaps, but 29k damage and roughly 4 units forced away from the battlefield from it. Anyway, with that, it looks like the battle is indeed ours, and the enemy will book it on out of there. We'll do our best to chase the enemy down, as they were willing to fight, and thus we'll have to try to destroy them next turn. Lovely. Alright, very nice, very nice. A Pyrrhic victory perhaps, but very much worth it, as we've got a half a stack that did the duty of a full stack here. And thus we don't need... Ooh, another spell shield. And can go on one of the mages. No, I do appreciate the melee defense on it as well, but anyway, I got distracted by things. We got 2,000 gold, which ain't too bad either, and we got replenishment. Now, he certainly could destroy the rest of this army, I'd wager. And the replenishment would help. I just can't say no to 2,000 gold. It's a fair bit of gold, pardon captives. Alright, and we'll chase the enemy down. We probably leveled up a little bit as well. Alright, there's that spell shield of Valet and Medora Sinov. Yeah, you can hold on to that, and hold on to the Ataman Administrator for now. Though, one thing I did find out, actually, that I tested between the episodes, when applying them to heroes, Ataman Administrators, the casualty or punishment does work on heroes, doesn't necessarily have to be lords, so that's good. And lords that don't have a lot of healing bonuses, which would be, for example, you... could then use the Ataman Administrator's spares. So that's what we're going to do. Ataman Administrator for you, and Ataman Administrator for you. And I did the same thing for Mother Ostankia as well. Vladimir, okay, you're going to move in a second. Wait, I went to the wrong place. Medoran. Let's level you up. We're moving through Relentless Chargers under the assumption that we will have at least some units of cavalry in this army. I think perhaps we'll do some winged lancers in combination with the acolytes of Ursun and Zargard, perhaps, so that Griffin Legion can be the focus for another army. As I don't think with... Well, I mean, we could make you half Griffin Legion and have Zargard and Ice Guard, but with the melee defense plus 10 for Acolytes of Ursun and Zargard, it feels like we should max out those as best we can. Anyway, keep going through Relentless Chargers, if nothing else. We do want the buffs from that. Melee defense when defending. It's only when defending. It's fine. You're fine. Alright, let's level everybody else up. You are still wishing you had the mana to cast things. Let's get another point in Blizzard, just so that it's a little bit cheaper and remains castable. You will need another point in... I think we're going to focus towards Battle Hymn first, and you have towards Battle Hymn. Let's go for Replenish Troops, I guess. Good. Next, you're still in Motherland stance. Destroy the remnants of this army. I take it the auto-resolve won't work. Nah, it'll kill all the Kislevite warriors. Alright, let's manually fight this real quick. I mean, we'll still have to be careful. We can't really even use these Kislevite warriors, but it's the same map, and we can once again draw the enemy forth in the manner that we like. Plus, most of the enemy remnants are range units, and in a range shootout, the Norskins just won't win. You guys can sit here and try not to die. Alrighty, then we can have the Streltsy like so. You guys like so behind them. You're not going to get charged. We can have a little box of and defenders as needed here. We back them off a teensy bit more. And the Dodge's Hearthblades here. Patriarchs on the wings, on their bears, and the Lord out front. You getting ready to cast at Group 2. Everybody else can be Group 1. In fact, how close are you to the edge of the map? You know what, just go all the way out here. I mean, I know that they're just basic Kislevite warriors, but I really don't want to rebuild them in the... in whatever next battle we have. Go here, you go here as well. Let us... wait, no. Go here. If they want to move towards us with their cab, just like they did last battle. It didn't work for them then, and I don't imagine it'll work for them now. So back you guys off. And you guys move towards them as well. You guys move here. We'll reform afterwards. Ungroup. Back off, back off. Are they actually running? I'm not entirely sure what they're doing here. Alright, shoot these guys, shoot these guys, shoot these guys, shoot these guys. They're probably trying to loop around us in some way. You gonna charge? There's the volley from those Streltsy yet again. And they're gonna fight probably down to nearly the last man, but that's alright. Won't be able to do it for long. You know, take shots at those marauders. This is the enemy Lord unit. You guys get ready to move forward, and same with everybody else. You guys switch to this range marauder unit. The melee marauder units do still need to be taken care of. After all, Dodge's Hearthblades, get ready to move. Let's activate our buffs in a second. How about now? And you guys all charge forth. You block them off, you switch targets. And no, none of that, please. No charging our Streltsy. Streltsy back off. We'll move the Patriarch in, and oh wait, the Patriarch's already here. All right, that's fine. You guys destroy the enemy range. You can activate the Battle Hymn of Tor. And frankly, this one Spearman unit is less of a threat than the units back here. You all... Oh, they did loop around. Good for them. And good for them. Won't help, but good for them. Could try Biting Wind. I'm sure it'll be safe. Frankly, it's probably a bad idea to cast the... Let's do Biting Wind. It'll only slightly clip a couple of units, but whatever. Also, activate Saliak's Lullaby. Destroy those Marauder horses. Enemy range unit is done. The spear unit is nearly done. Saliak's Lullaby is healing us. A little bit more damage on you guys, and battle should be over. I'm not going to speed it up just because, you know, danger. Alright, and Saliak's Lullaby now. Good. Charge the enemy range units, or destroy the other enemy range units with your own range units. And Dodge's Hearthblades move in to help, and you guys move in to help. Good, good. And I think we're good to speed this up now, as the battle will be over. Lovely. Well done. And this guy is coming together as a proper lord, which I appreciate. Alright, so this army should be destroyed. I'm hoping that they don't have another full stack nearby, as, we'll see. You can barely heal, so barely. So pardon captives, yeah. If we had gotten 30 devotion for that, I would have taken the devotion, but, yeah, it's been few and far between the times that we've taken devotion in this run. Now, this is still chaos territory, unfortunately. So we still suffer attrition, and we need to heal. Hopefully the enemy doesn't have too much by the time I reach Stormwrack Mount. What we are going to do is, despite the cost, generate a few more Kossars. And just for now. Unfortunately, our global recruitment is insanely expensive, so we won't be relying on that. Tzarina Katarin, we would like you to move to the Writhing Fortress, which would take 3 turns. Okay, that's not... no. No, thank you. You're going to march stance all the way out here to close this distance fast as you can. Probably want to build something here. You know what? Start with a church. And we'll think about the other stuff later. I would love for you to have taken Stormwrack Mount, but you need to go into march stance and then move towards the... move towards Epidemius, who will take the Crystal Spires, but then we will hopefully retake it and destroy his main force. You have a point available. We can get Retinue Quartermaster, and hopefully that'll make us fully immune. Okay, good. I don't know if we were already fully immune, but just had to keep stacking that so we could get as close to immune as possible. Black Fang is up on... yeah, okay, we're actually going to have to fight that, so we'll hold off on you. I'd like to see everybody else's moves before we make the decision as to who goes where. Ataman, you have a question. Pragmatic Defender, Recruiter. Pragmatic Defender, gonna have to go with Recruiter. Upkeep reduction, recruitment cost reduction. Show Pioneering Spirit. That's the one we've chosen on most of them. I really wish that we've gotten more construction time reducers and more money makers and more construction cost reducers. Not a single extra one of those, unfortunately, so far. Hopefully it'll change. How is Beledna the Crit Failure doing? 19 out of 20 on her levels. Try here, Forest of Arnheim. Alright, there's the failure, but she didn't crit fail and die, so I'm okay with that. Mother of Stankia, do you need to fight Doomkeep, or at Doomkeep? Maybe, oh right. I wanted to see, wait. There was a reason we didn't accept the mission from Reichland. Ah, okay, so Wulfric, I assume, is here. Yeah, he's at Longship Graveyard. Okay, so he could attack the Bay of Blades or something here. Okay, so... we will accept the mission, because it'll disappear next turn anyway. Then, we will get Castelton back up and running. Ooh. Okay, Castelton, Supreme Patriarch, go. Then we will build you to reduce the cost here further at Prague. Castelton, you need to get for the people, and you need to get hero recruit rank for Patriarchs, as we're about to get some Patriarchs. Devotion gained from successful hero actions is relatively useless. Blaze of Devotion passive ability is nice, however, so we'll do that. And out of these two, I guess Howling Rage, just because we want to get into Firebrand there. And he's got plenty of recruitment cost reduction himself as well. At least when he has this. Definitely into Ursun's Roar, and then towards Battle Hymn and Salyak's Lullaby. Probably want Root Marcher, Inspiring Presence, and... Arcane Vassal. Arcane Vassal? He's not a caster. How's he an Arcane Vassal? Odd. Okay. Orthodoxy... oh, right. We can ignore that for now. So... the question is, where do we put the other points? I mean, we could start popping points into firing drills because most of his army is made up of Streltsy of various types, so let's do that. Then, we will transfer these units to him, or at least a lot of these units to him. Not the frost. Okay, so if the Streltsy and these and 2 of the little Groms, these are ones he's gonna keep. Then we'll move here. Then I want you to recruit a Frostworm, and you will carry it to Mother Estankia. And since Wulfric is on the way, probably, let's get a few basic Cossars just to add to the defense, because this is going to be an expensive turn. Okay, I guess the question is how many. We will also want to recruit Kistelton's 2 missing units of Streltsy, which we should reduce the cost of in a second. Although they're reasonably cheap here anyway. Which will put him at 16 out of 20. 16 out of 20. What will he be missing? Actually, no, 16 out of 20 is fine. Because he'll have a War Drum, which will put him to 17 out of 20. And then 2 Patriarchs, as well as a Mage. Which is 20 out of 20. Good, good, Ruinous, good. Then we will temporarily, or temporarily-ish, move these Frost Maidens to you. Only one of them will stay in this army, of course. You here and you here. Then you can get the Streltsy cheaper. 2 Streltsy with Bardishas. Alright, we can get your first Patriarch on the field, which is definitely the Shrewd Advisor type, and we'll hopefully get another Shrewd Advisor. And he'll start at level 5, which immediately gives him access to Salyak's Lullaby, Tor's Battle Hymn, and Song of Winter Sunlight. Beautiful. Alright, now we just need one more, and I'm not gonna mill through them, because we already spent all of our money this turn, but yeah. Alright. Happy with that. Who is up next? So Victor Zamin, you're gonna fight. Demetrius Sokin, you... Okay, well, I guess you're going to fight as well. Let's put you in a Motherland stance as well. Put you here. Close defeat, yeah, we'll see about that. Steel Standard on you, and... Well, funnily enough, the War Banner would actually be pretty good on these guys as well. It'd actually be the better option than the Steel Standard here. But for now, I think we'll put it on maybe maybe these guys. Have them do more damage. Encircle. Alright, so they've got tons and tons of Plague Bearers exalted and none exalted, but yeah, makes Epidemius a bit of a one-trick pony. You are going to march over here. Hopefully we can take out his territories up here before moving up north. Hopefully Malice doesn't arrive while we're doing this, since clearly he's not attacking Epidemius, though that is quite rude. Swap out the Kossar unit, and just a spare Kossar. And I guess we'll use you to help in the battle a little bit. We might as well fight it now, there's probably other fights to do, so... let's do this. Valiant defeat. What kind of defeat was it before? I don't know. And, oh, they got Forsaken. That's going to be a problem. And the Beasts of Nurgle are going to be a problem as well. Alright, I can see why the game thinks that this battle is going to be a problem, because it probably will be. If only we were ranked well. But alas, we are not, so we got to do what we can. Go.
Clouds gather, Kislevites! And like the eternal winter of the motherland, we bring the storm!
Alrighty, I am not entirely sure what the heck happened here. I don't know why we have a forest, not just a forest, but a minor settlement, Athaloran-like forest map in the middle of Norska. What the heck is going on here? I have no idea. At first I was like, wait, was there a change to the defensive structures of the Nurglite faction, where they cause overgrowth and thereby cause a forest battle on the maps where there are well, Nurgle factions? But then I thought, could that actually be? Because this is a magical force. This isn't a there's no Nurglite stuff here. There's no Nurgle corruption at all. The skies are nice and clear and uncorrupted, and there's no Nurgle flora or fauna all over the map. So I'm not entirely sure what the heck is going on here. This also isn't particularly great for our particular type of army, or this particular type of army, as this is supposed to be a skirmisher army that is likes to divide and conquer and annoy the enemy army, with those Kossovite archers leading portions of them to our own army while we harass them. Here, we won't be able to do that at all. In fact, we probably will get very little use of our horse archers. Certainly, they'll still be able to let their arrows loose, but they're not... their contribution to the army isn't really so much the damage they deal as the disruption they cause to the enemy army, which we won't be able to leverage in this particular battle at all. But anyway, let's speed this up a little bit as we take formation and we start trying to fight those piles of plague bearers and such. Another issue is all these trees will be blocking us, and we do have a relatively limited ammunition on a lot of our units. It looks like the enemy lord is also spamming Spirit Leech. I believe this is the second one on Igor Talichev, which ain't great as he doesn't have a source of healing in this army at all. Oh, I'll probably have to try to get him a healing potion or something along those lines. I'm gonna get a few volleys into Putrid Scum over here, which is down to about half of its HP. Which is pretty decent, but there isn't an easy way to bring it down, and now so many of our heroes are being blocked by that damn tree right in the middle of everything. Ooh, looks like a pile of Chaos Furies will come down, attempting to go after one of our two units of, or one of our two Hag Witches. We're going to back off and allow the arrows to rip those fragile Furies apart. There we go. Try to conserve ammunition, though. If only there was like, I don't know, conserve ammunition sort of option for our units, rather than individually having to, you know, tell some of them to stop firing. Anyway, the barricades are still up, and, well, the barricade, I should say. We have a trap over here instead that reduces our melee attack, but that honestly isn't as much of a concern as the actual barricade. Or platform, is that a platform? Yeah, platform. Our units are firing upon the enemy Forsaken, some of which have backed away, but some of them have finally decided to join the fray. We use the nets from our Akshina Ambusher Regiment of Renown to stop them in their tracks and start riddling them with arrows, but you gotta remember that the Forsaken are heavily armored. No. Forsaken have a bronze shield? Huh, interesting. Is this a Nurglite Forsaken thing, or did Forsaken always have a bronze shield? I gotta double check that at some point. Either way, these guys are taking a lot of shots from our Lord, from both of the Hag Witches and from all of our range units. They do finally back away, but that's a lot of ammunition expenditure considering what's left in the enemy army. More Plague Bearers are sort of running around. We're just going to have to slowly move forward, advance by fire and movement effectively, while units cover each other. And another Forsaken unit will move in. If we move too many units at the same time and an enemy unit rushes in, they won't be able to... well, they'll be able to close the distance without us being able to stop them. And there we go. Riddle those Forsaken with arrows here. These guys do have Cloud of Flies as well. Unfortunately, we don't really have the source of fire damage in this particular army, but what can you do? Looks like our reinforcements have arrived, such as they are. 3 more units of Kossars, plus the additional Lord. Not 100% sure how much help he'll be able to offer, but at least a nice anchoring point to the main line, so that our Druzhina won't have to act as such, fragile as he is. Alright, it looks like the Forsaken have been broken yet again. Gotta appreciate those pack traps on the Akshina Ambushers, the Wolf Hearts. Of which we have 2. Forsaken of Nurgle are out. I don't know how many more Forsaken are left in the enemy formation, but they do still have 2 Beasts of Nurgle, plenty of Doggos, just ludicrous numbers of Plague Bearers, and tons of Exalted Plague Bearers, specifically as well. So we do have to be very concerned about that sort of thing. Honestly, I probably should have told these guys to stop firing on that unit of Forsaken once it had taken sufficient damage. Oh, it looks like a unit of Chaos Furies are going to attempt to use the cover of the trees to close the distance. We are still going to stop them in their tracks before they can drop down upon these guys. But perhaps I should have waited just a little bit longer so they weren't shielded by the trees like this. They'll still get ripped apart, but yeah. The terrain isn't really working for us in this random Norscan magical forest with a very temperate climate by the looks of it. Alright, the Furies have landed. Once again, they seem to be going for the Hag Witch, interestingly enough. Seems like the AI wants those Hag Witches and gone. I can see why. They've got decent damage. They've got that bleed application, as well as the fact that they have spells and the Flock of Doom bound spell as well. Though right now the only spell they really have, the only actual spell they have is Spirit Leech. It's certainly a threat to the enemy, a Lord, as well as those Beasts of Nurgle. More Plague Bearers are coming. Plenty more where that came from as well, and it looks like we're going to have to attempt to hold them off as best we can with the Wolf Hearts. They do have 57 melee defense, and with only 37 attack, at least on the regular Plague Bearers, it will take them a while to break through the ambushers. So there was that. Unfortunately, we don't have any spells to buff them up or debuff the enemies. Soon, once we level up the Hag Witches and, have sufficient mana to actually cast, we will have repeated uses of Soul Blight available to this particular army, so that when the enemy does close the distance in this manner, we'll be able to do something about it, but this is not one of those times. Anyway, we're going to back up the Wolf Hearts now that they've taken sufficient damage. They do still have ammunition, and we don't want too many of them to die, so that we can still make use of it. Our Hag Witch is out front, but this perhaps was not the brightest idea, as she's going to be targeted, by the looks of it, by these Exalted Plague Bearers, all of which will get a single volley on her like so, dropping her immediately. Look at that HP. Let's see. One volley from them, and her healing cap is dropping as well with that. Well, anyway, that drops her basically to about half HP, which ain't great, as she is now stuck, as the Hounds of Decay are there as well. And here comes another volley from those Exalted Plague Bears, dropping that healing cap further. How did she heal so much throughout this battle? How's that healing cap up so high? Oh, there's an incoming healing modifier. 10% from the Hounds of Decay. Well, that's not that much. Healing modifier. Yeah, well, either way, that's very threatening, as our Hag Witch drops down very, very quickly to about 15% of her HP. We're gonna have to try to book her out of there, or she'll try to book it on out of there herself, as her leadership is broken. Should have kept her behind the line rather than being out so close to those darn Exalted Plague Bearers. They can do quite a bit of damage if you let them. We're gonna have our Cossars target them as best they can, while the other Cossars attempt to hold off the regular and Exalted Plague Bearers and Hounds of Decay. The enemy are assaulting us on this side as well, but at least these Plague Bearers are pretty much done, and the bounce power remains in the enemy's favor, and we've certainly got a few units that have been hurt. Dmitry Osokin is anchoring the line, as we were wanting him to do here, trying to hold that back. The Monstrous Tide is the only really effective in melee unit that we have on the team here. Alright, well, these Cossars I'm sure will rout relatively shortly, but we still have ammunition for now, and we'll just keep going. Gonna activate a Spirit Leech, as we do have plenty of mana, as the two Hag Witches in this particular army have... they both have whatchamacallums, the Forbidden Rods, giving them additional mana upon activation. Granted, we won't be able to use the Forbidden Rod again on the Hag Witch that got hurt by the enemy Plague Bearer volley, but the other one can still use hers, and thus we'll still have decent amounts of that available. What we won't have decent amounts of available is ammunition. All of our horse archers have run out. All of our front line here, with the exception of a couple of units here, have run out. These guys are out, and only the reinforcements, these three that came in as reinforcements and thus weren't firing for the entire battle, are things that still have ammo. And this ain't great, as the bounce power is still in the enemy's favor, and we still have a ton of enemies to work through without the ability to do so in melee. Not great at all. Let's see what we can do here. Now, we're going to keep going, in the sense that we're going to keep fighting this, even though logically the thing to do here, once we are completely out of ammunition, the thing to do here is simply to leave the battlefield, and then recover our ammunition to full, and then just fight again immediately on the same turn, but should be pretty fun to see what we can do here. Alright, and you're right in the middle of all those Plague Bearers, sir. Keep on holding and dishing out damage. Too bad you don't have magical damage, but at the very least, you have Splash, and at least the regular Plague Bearers should be pretty darn vulnerable. And the reinforcements are also still laying down, if not withering amounts of arrow fire, still decent arrow fire, and our hag witches still have ammunition as well, by the looks of it having greater reserves of ammo than the Kossars generally do, though they are running out as well. More plague bearers are heading on in, and it looks like some beasts of Nurgle have arrived as well, as the enemy has decided that we're looking a lot more vulnerable now with the lack of ammo. And going to continue recovering ammo, specifically on the Wolf Hearts, as they have armor-piercing stagger shot and will do more damage than the Kossars will. So as long as we have those ammo recovery abilities available on the Družina, they can still do damage for a little bit more. I think we've used 2 out of 4 at this point, so a little bit more ammo available to us. Gonna focus those Beasts of Nurgle down. First they got stopped by the pack net of the Wolf Hearts, then they got stopped by the Tormentor Sword of our Družina, and it looks like that was enough to keep them in place long enough to take enough damage from the arrows. The enemy Lord has arrived as well with the Plague Bearers. It is a Herald of Nurgle. We unfortunately don't have too much ammunition left for him, but maybe we can dish out enough damage, and finally somebody to appropriately use that Spirit Leech on, rather than, as we were doing before, spamming it on units. And just to get rid of them ASAP. And the enemy Lord is down to 20% HP. Probably would have done a better job keeping back, but is melting away at last. Few of our own units will of course get killed by our arrows, but worth it to bring down the enemy Lord. And the enemy Lord falls, but the bounce power remains still in the enemy's favor. Yet another unit of Exalted Plague Bearers has reached us on both sides, and now this would be a really good time to back away and make use of our ammunition. But we're not going to do that. If we have to pull, some stuff to try to get a win, we'll certainly attempt to do so. Nothing cheesy, of course, but we will try to capture the enemy key locations. See if we can do that, as otherwise the horse archers aren't doing anything. They're completely useless. The only thing they have going for them here is speed. So they're going to loop around and try to get to this minor supply location before moving up here, while we make something of an advance towards the enemy. Speaking of advance towards us, or towards an enemy, we're their enemy. Everybody's somebody's enemy. Here comes a cultist. The cultist opens up the Greater Gate of Nurgle and summons a Great Unclean One on top of our units. We're going to have to back our Družina and our Lord off and just try to send bodies at the Great Unclean One. It is a summoned unit, so it will dissipate in 140 seconds, roughly. In the meantime, it will probably kill a fair few of our units off. But it's better not to waste ammunition on it, so we're going to use some of our Kossars just to hold it back. And I'm sure a decent amount of them will die, but at least the very limited ammunition we have, we're pretty much down to only the ammunition that we have from recovering ammo with our ammo recovery ability, our restock ability. Have to use it on more important units that won't desummon themselves, like the Beasts of Nurgle here. Beasts of Nurgle are down to about half HP, and this is the second unit of Beasts of Nurgle. And it looks like they're going to be out of there, and we have managed to rip that cultist apart as well. Tormentor Sword really helped in terms of the enemy not being able to do too much damage to us. And I believe that was a bloody end for the enemy cultist, who lost his head. Alright, the Beasts of Nurgle are in pretty bad shape as well. stacking a decent amount of debuffs on them, as well as yet more spirit leeches. We do still have mana thanks to those forbidden rods. The Great Unclean One is still fighting, if you can call it that, and still has 65 more seconds to go. Got 22 kills to its name and 5,000 damage, which ain't too bad, but it wasn't as disruptive to our formation as it could have been. Nurglings and even more units of Plague Bearers are making their way in, and the balance of power remains in the enemy's favor. However, our Steppe Archers are doing their work. The enemy army, if nothing else, being a Nurglite army, is very, very slow. We've captured this key location and going to bypass the enemy and run towards the next key location instead. If we are able to capture this key location with this blob of units, ammo-less though almost all of them are, then technically the battle will be ours. Hey, if the AI constantly tries to rush key locations, we can do so too. Once in a blue moon, anyway. I usually don't do this even a single time in most campaigns, because usually it's more fun to destroy the enemy, but needs must in this particular case. If we're not going to back off to recover our ammunition, then we're going to do what we have to do. If we can pull it off. The issue is the enemy is moving to recapture this particular location, so we might be playing a little bit of cat and mouse with the Steppe Archers as they run around, attempting to capture and not get caught by the piles of units. Once again, they're just going to have to do their best to leverage their speed. Unfortunately, though, their mass isn't quite high enough to charge through a unit of Exalted Plague Bearers, so if they get caught, they'll get caught. They wouldn't be able to do pull like a winged hussar's sort of charge where they send the enemy flying and then just charge through them, as they don't have the mass for that sort of thing. Anyway, keep on moving forward. At the very least, with all the Nurglite corpses around, the magical forest is looking a lot more Nurglish, though not quite as Nurglish as it perhaps should. Frankly, all the fungal growth around almost makes it look orky, so could spot some forest goblins here rather than more Nurglite units. And there we go, this is what I'm talking about. The Kislev Archers do get stuck on this unit of Exalted Plague Bears, just trying to run past them. We are looking to capture the third supply location. This one is still ours, but we'll have to loop back around to the third. Well, first, third, whatever, you know what I mean. Anyway, looks like this one is ours, with our Druzhina and our Hag Witches having captured it. But the battle is not ours yet, that's for certain. About 50% bounce back. Gonna speed it up a little bit, just a small charge into the sides of those Exalted Plague Bears, and they take basically no damage whatsoever from the Kislev Archers. That's hardly surprising, as they have 24 weapon strength, probably very little armor piercing. 7 damage. And yeah, they just... only 30 charge bonus as well. Just out of curiosity, what's a charge bonus on a Kossar unit? Let's see, 10 on the Akshina Ambushers. Kossars have about 10 as well. Okay, fair enough. Just wanted to make a comparison of a regular infantry versus a light cab, because a horse smashing into you is still going to hurt. It'll probably kill a normal guy. But of course, these are Plague Bearers. They may not enjoy it on the same level as a Slaneshi might, but, you know. Anyway, Hag Witches are still applying themselves to try to do as much damage as possible. Once again, gotta remember that these gals have bleed and magical damage on them, so though they are hurt, they can certainly still dish out damage to the enemy Plague Bearers. We certainly need that magical damage. We are still holding around here, and just to make sure that we don't lose this minor supply location, trying to hold off the Exalted Plague Bears over on this side, and are moving around to capture this other minor supply location as well. Momentum, speed plus 13%, melee attack plus 13%, leadership and vigor, affects all allies in range. Well, that's just swell. Alright, try to get towards that minor supply location. You're not going to get chased down by the Plague Bears, as we've distracted all the Plague Bearers. There is a unit of Nurglings there, but perhaps they can hold off a unit of Nurglings. That is the third and final capture point location. And many a brave Kossar is being sacrificed for this particular purpose. Not that we particularly... I mean, another reason I'm sort of willing to do this is because, well, all the Kossars here are going to be replaced by Tzarina ambushers, as this is what this army was built for. So like the Kislevite warriors in the other armies, or the sword and, or the shield and saber Kossars, the regular Kossars are very much deemed sacrificable for the purpose of a win. It looks like we've made it to the capture location, and regardless of the fact that these guys aren't really able to kill the Nurglings, with 6 units on top of the supply location, that is sufficient to actually capture it. A few of our Kossars are making their way back, but 2 out of 3 are ours of the locations, I mean, and a third one is about to be ours as well. Everybody keep on charging on in and just distracting those plague bearers, preventing them from moving anywhere and recapturing any point. With that, the third of the capture points is ours. The momentum maxes out and the enemy army shatters. Now it's just a matter of waiting them out and allowing them to disappear, and since they can no longer stop this unless I'm mistaken, actually not sure. Once the banishment and the shattering has begun, would the enemy army be able to stop it if it were to capture or recapture these supply locations, or is it too late? I've never tried, or it's too niche of a situation to have encountered it before. But anyway, they are banishing themselves either way, so we're going to back off what units remain, though all of them are in very bad shape. And just so that we save on as many units as we can in terms of not needing to fight. There we go. Melt away and return to the realm of chaos. Pyrrhic victory for us, but a victory and nonetheless, and a pretty interesting battle. Very unexpected forest. Suddenly forest. Really wasn't expecting that. Ooh, alright, that took quite a bit of effort, and if it weren't for the steppe archers capturing our Kossovite archers capturing the minor key locations, or all the key locations, I guess, I'm not sure that these guys at the Kossars would have been able to outkill the exalted plague bearers by the end. A great fight. Granted, once again, we didn't really have to fight it that way. We could have simply let loose all of our arrows, killed like half the enemy army, backed off, retreated, and then just went in again with the arrows full. But in this case, it was just more fun to fight it this way. 40k damage and 36k damage on the 2 hag witches, which did pretty well, and the Wolfheart's Tzarina ambushers did keep up with their damage numbers, with the archers, or the Kossars, about half of them, and then the archers about half of them. But we were expecting a field battle, and I still don't understand why that was a forest battle, but whatever, I guess. Occupy. Terrifying Mask of E, another one. Do we need one in this? Oh, you're not actually an army, so no, we don't need one. Or you don't need one, that's for certain. Alright, and, oh, wait, 19 out of 20? Huh, did we lose a unit? Wasn't paying attention.
By my command,
take this unit back. Did we lose a unit? Or was it actually a 19 out of 20? Oh well, I'll go back over a video, but I guess it doesn't really matter, because we were going to replace every single one of these Kossars with Tzarina ambushers, Ice Guard, and whatnot, so hardly matters there. You are supposed to go into this army, and... Okay, I guess so what we have to do is get rid of one of the things in the woods, at least if we want to keep the kitties, and the kitties are... They're reasonably decent veterancy now, so we can get another thing in the woods back, or whatever. We'll do something. We'll figure it out. For now, we do want you in this army, and... Oh! We no longer have the... Okay, well, that's annoying. That was you, right? I think that was you. You make it so that... What the heck? You can reach it by yourself, but when you enter the army can't reach it. What the heck are you talking about, game? If you can reach it yourself, why would it... Okay, well, whatever. That is so strange. I have no idea. I have no idea. Encircle. And we'll pop the Hag Witch in here now. Wait, oh, actually she can't reach him. Huh. Okay, well then I guess the game is a liar.
Feed the forest.
Yeah, okay, fine. We'll fight that without. Though, oh really? Medium casualties fighting this. Auto-resolve. Anti-Kislev auto-resolve. Alright, let's see what else we have before we do. We got the fight at Black Fang as well. Urogny, you guys are moving. Oh man, you need to channel. You really need to channel. It'll then take you multiple turns to reach granite spikes, but I don't see how we can avoid that. Well, actually, technically, you don't need to channel, Beledna needs to channel, but at the same time, you're eventually going to have a witch of your own. Actually, speaking of... Oh, wait. Maybe I should get one of these for Urogny. Because the Hag Witch of Beasts would probably combine fairly well with the Acolytes of Ursun, as it could give, she could give them armor, which would be good. Unbreakable enemy leadership reduction, we have the dreaded removes immunity to psychology effect, but also reduces winds of magic usage and increase the power reserve. I guess we could do Spirit Haunted. Why not? I was originally gonna go for the Hag Witch of Shadows here, but I feel like beasts would work better with this particular army. It's gonna have a lot of beasts. Go figure. Yeah, let's go Spirit Haunted. Alright, and you can move on in and help out. Ooh, we're below 10k now, but I didn't mean to click that. We're below 10k now, but not much we can do about that either. What else needs to be done? Recruiter Gaspar. You're not moving right now. Recruiter Guyovich. You are moving this way. Stelton is still recruit. Stelton's still recruit. Alright, I did that this turn. Okay, good. Good job, Ruinous. And I believe that's it. So back into the next fight then. Now, you are stuck where you are. Tzarina Katarin is going after Archie, who's down to 3 provinces and really willing to peace out now. But I think we're okay. Next... I guess we'll do an orc fight, since that wasn't an orc fight. Minta Motherland stands for you, just for the additional line of sight. And we'll hit the Black Fang. I always forget, can the Conclave declare war on us? Would we get hurt here, and then Gorth the Cruel suddenly comes in with an ultra elite stacks and kills everything here? I guess we're gonna find out. Go. What do we have here? The actual enemy army isn't too bad, but Pyrrhic victory and medium casualties, can't be risking that right now. Go.
When you stand with me, you stand in defense of Mother Kislev. Fight for her!
Alrighty, here we go. And I just realized the blue and red color scheme of the Kislev works quite well for any dwarf units, because they just look like they're wearing the colors of Clan Angrand anyway. So, I'm sure they're at least somewhat happy about that. And here we go again, more work for the Watchmen in the Night and the Dwarven and Kislevite artillery alike. Let's see how long it takes us to break through this particular settlement. Also, did I say that engagement threshold thing this episode? Engagement threshold, yes, good. That thing. Likes, comments, good. Anyway, there's a catapult tower here, unfortunately, a tier 3 explosive catapult tower, which we tried to aim at with the little Groms. Unfortunately, by the looks of it, it is being shielded by all these structures, and you can't actually fire upon it with your artillery. I guess the only way would have been to capture this point, but if we would have gotten bogged down in this choke point with an explosive artillery piece or explosive tower firing on us that entire time, I fear we would have taken too much damage. So instead, what we're going to do is change tacks a little bit and go this way instead, where we cannot be targeted by this tower, or at the very least are too far out of its range. I wish I could tell what exactly... 275 range, eh? Yeah, but how am I supposed to know where exactly... This isn't the edge of its range. It's definitely not the edge of its range, because we had some units here, like the little Grom, and it was firing upon it right here. And yeah, 275, let's see, that's about a little under half of the range of a Dwarven cannon, who I believe are at 500, yeah. A little over half of the range of it. So it would be like this much. Yeah, so it should be able to reach anything here. Oh, it might actually be able to reach us here. I'm gonna have to be wary of that. Anyway, getting a little bit of bombardment to herald our arrival, or at the very least to soften up the enemy targets before we start moving our infantry in. Unfortunately for the boar boys, that means we target them first. There is that unit of Mogreb's mangy marauders out here as well, and I have personally had it out for this unit in this particular campaign ever since they took half of the HP off Tzarina Katarin, and just by virtue of slowing her down with that darn stagger shot. I do wonder how effective they'd be against her now that she's on the sled, though. Even at 50% of her speed, she's still not going to be moving slowly. Could probably just directly charge the sled. Anyway, it looks like some enemy error boys have decided to go for a little bit of a shootout with our artillery and our cossars, and that's just fine by us. Any units that they move forward and feed to us will be units that we won't have to take care of while the enemy is blobbed up in a fight with our melee troops. And there we go, very nice shots from the artillery pieces, reducing their numbers. We do still have plenty of ammunition on them, and at the very least in a battle like this, we're more likely to recover the ammo on the artillery than on the cossars and such. At least I would imagine so. And do certainly miss the scatter shot on these things. Alright, come on now, fire. Cannon, please. It looks like they're saying, come on, fire. But they're not actually firing. They might be obstructed. I'm not sure. Watch them fire as soon as I move away. But anyway, looks like the archers are out. That Mogreb's mangy marauders being focused down by our cossars as well. And we'll probably be attempting to get the heck out of there relatively soon. Alright, cossars, please don't focus the edge of the enemy formation. What the heck is this? Why would you do this? Fire into the center mass of the enemy. Like that. Very nice shot from whichever cannon shot that. I think it was one of the little Groms, but very, very nice indeed. That one certainly sent those mangy marauders scurrying on out of there. And, oh, yeah, there we go. Just saw a projectile fire from that catapult tower, which means it can indeed fire upon our units as they move through this particular location. There's another shot, though that one, by the looks of it, missed. So we should probably not use this entrance and then move over here instead. Gonna speed it up a little bit as we enter the enemy settlement, though our little Groms and such continue to fire, and these poor error boys gonna take pistol, arrow, hand cannon fire all at the same time, and a bear running after them as well. I'm still shocked by the fact that these things don't cause terror, but I guess everything out in Warhammer is so horrifying that just a gigantic polar bear is not terrifying enough for you to be, well, terrified of it. Well, the Frostmaiden has terror, but that's the terrifying Mask of V working for her, not the actual bears. You're good bears, though. You get pets. Alrighty, anyway. Let's see. We got another Orc Boar Boy unit here, but we're just systematically taking this particular settlement, and these guys are going to get gunned down. Once again, the bears move on in to hold them back and hopefully use their bodies as shields, in the sense that our units fire upon them rather than on us. In that light, we should work our way as deep into the enemy formation as possible, and we can approach further with our cossars and the like. Haven't needed to make use of our Watchmen in the Night as yet, but I'd rather run out of ammunition on the regular cossars first, since it's a very limited amount of ammunition on their pistols anyway, and then we can start working on the enemy in melee. Looks like the Boar Boys are out, and we can now switch to the enemy biggins that have made their way in, though probably not for too long. Yeah, the command squads for the Kislev faction are very useful, aren't they? And just for countercharging the enemies and then holding them back while allowing the hybrid units to fire their limited ammunition for as long as they can, and then entering into the melee as well. And of course all the buffs and stuff. But that goes without saying, though I did say it. Alright, it looks like those biggins are pretty much out of there as well. We are also taking our time because we're allowing as many of our forces to enter the enemy settlement as possible. The little Groms have to get here. The Dwarven cannon are going to take much longer to get here. Half the speed of a little Grom unit on them. After all, slow down the enemy a little bit with an ice sheet as we make our way in and move the rest of our infantry around. Speed it up a little bit as we reposition everybody. And there we go, Snow Leopard summoned. Gonna send the Snow Leopard after that Black Orc Big Boss. It doesn't really matter if it dies since it's a summoned unit, just gotta make sure that we get some good use out of it, distracting the enemy lord. Shoot the enemy lord in the back with the Družina's bow ability. I don't know if it was effective, but the Družina's got 8,000 damage and 42 kills on him, which ain't horrible. Better than the Patriarchs, but they're mostly there to hold ground rather than to dish out direct damage, so that's just fine. Alrighty, and how's that ammunition looking on the Cossar? The Cold Steel Company maybe has one more volley in him, and this other armored Cossar unit does as well, and that's all well and good, considering the enemy Boar Boys charge on, and they'll be held back by the armored Cossars, and we'll be ready to send the Twin Blade variant in now, that we don't need to use up all of our ammunition. And there we go, time to charge and get stuck in, otherwise our command squad is doing all the work. I think these guys are moving slowly, but it's probably just because they're getting slowed down by having to move through the ranks of the other units. And there we go, Biggins versus the Watchmen in the Night once more. And all the buffs that we've got on him right now as well. Weapon strength is at 60, not so bad. Base value 50, Frenzy 5, and Red War Chant 5 as well. Alright, and the Heart of Winter comes down in the middle of all this, mostly because we still had it remaining. There isn't really much in the way of enemies remaining here, so they'll be out of here shortly. The enemy Black Orc Big Boss surrounded by the Watchmen in the Night and our command squad and that summoned leopard all at the same time. We'll surely see the enemy lord dropping very quick. Or the enemy hero, but the enemy lord is a goblin great shaman. I'm sure we'll be chasing them down shortly as well. Looks like those orc boar boys are attempting to make their way out of there, terrified as they are of... what exactly caused terror to them here? Maybe they were close enough to our mage? Because nothing there causes terror, but anyway. I suppose it doesn't matter. Either way, they're shattered. Alright, and so are these orc boys as well. We got a few more charging on in, but I expect not for long, as I think this is a unit... Ooh, wow, that one went flying far, damn. Nice mass on, presumably, the bear. This was a rallying unit rather than a full HP unit, so hardly surprising that it won't fight for long. Now our command squad is going to switch to trying to go after that enemy lord. I'm not sure whether we saw too many vindictive glares. I don't know how much mana they had. Maybe we did, and the enemy... Oh, it was probably using sneaky stab and spam and sneaky stabbing from where it was. There might have not really been a particularly good sort of line of sight to use vindictive glare. Though it can fire pretty darn far. Anyway, I feel bad for this poor little gobbo as the giant bears and the entire command squad lays into him. And I'm sure the poor great shaman will be dead shortly. More work for the Watchmen in the Night, who are surrounding a regular unit of orc boys. Not a great matchup for the regular orc boys here, as unlike the biggins, the twin blades will rip them apart very easily. Alright, just gotta see these guys in action for the little bit more. As the battle turns to about 95% balance of power in our favor, and the battle is very nearly ours. I would imagine that as soon as our command squad breaks that enemy lord, then the entire enemy army will shatter. And in fact, the fact that we have a lot of mass on those war bears is what's working against us, in the sense that when there's a smaller infantry lord like the Goblin Great Shaman there, they just keep knocking him around, and he'll get those invincibility frames over and over and over again as he gets back up, and there isn't really anything you can do about that. I mean, I suppose we could send less than all the bears at him at once, and the one horse. But it's still a goblin lord with tiny amounts of mass and no mount, so it'll just take too long to die. There we go. I imagine with that, yep, by virtue of the arrival of the command squad, the enemy lord is dead. We'll rear charge those orc boys, and another orc biggin unit tries to charge in, but I think the chain route should be here. At any rate, their leadership is looking pretty bad. Well, we have a little bit of more ammunition, so if these guys want to charge on in, they can feel free to do so. Even the cannons have arrived all this way, both the little Groms and the Dwarven cannons. Frankly, the biggins probably should have chanced the twin blades of the Watchman in the Night rather than attempting to chance this, as this did not go well for them. Alright, so, the biggins have shattered. There is still another unit of regular orc boys out here, but I think we don't actually need to kill them there we go. With that, the entire enemy army shatters, and suddenly the settlement is ours. Alright, love to see this army and Uragni's army continue to work together, or not together, that's the literal opposite, work apart from each other quite nicely. I like the little vision into the underway passage or underground passages of the dwarfen stuff below these orky settlements on top, as they have infested the place as well. I think there's a few other openings where you can see dwarfen construction. I think there are a few bigger ones on this map somewhere, as I do remember looking around all these maps many a time before. Oh, there we go. There we got the defaced sort of entry into this particular dwarven location, but anyway. Alrighty, there we go. Lots of sieges and siege-adjacent things in this particular episode. Lots and lots of damage on our artillery pieces. Little Groms generally outdoing the cannons, but close. Close either way. They both serving their purpose. Surprisingly decent damage on Victor Zamvin there, though I think he got more damage in melee than he did in range, and a bit of damage on the Frostmaiden as well, but that's hardly surprising. Well done. We are going to occupy the place like so. Earthing Rod, which we can hopefully turn into something a little bit more useful, and Black Fang is ours. We captured another church here, which is fine, and we will awaken the land, I suppose. Actually, no, I lied. We will purge the steps while we're moving around here. Now, So Grimgor's at Karak Azorn, his last territory, and it's fairly far. Huh. Let me think here. What if we were to send Uragni and Beledna up towards Floating Mountain? Just because it's going to take Tzarina Katarin a while to get there. Then we send Victor Zamvin with his Kossars up to Granite Spikes. We leave Karak Azorn alone, or Grimgor at Karak Azorn alone, and instead of going for the Fecondites with Kastalton, since his army is going to be ready, we send Kastalton through the Uzkalak Canal, where he'll end up here and then immediately, or maybe not immediately, but very close to it, be able to attack Karak Azorn. It's certainly a possibility. I'm going to give that some thought, but it'll have to be some thought given next time around, / between the episodes, because we're out of time. I'll do this battle between the episodes because this is just ridiculous, and the auto-resolve is being obnoxious today. Like every day. Wait, what? Why can you... I don't understand. Why can't you... Okay, what the heck is going on? What? Oh, wait, it's because she already entered the army and left because of the reduction in move range. But she can reach Mother Estanka, clearly. She can. So the game was just being weird. Alright, I don't know. It doesn't matter. What does matter is I'm calling the episode here. Next time I continue advancing through the territories of Epidemius, looping back around with Vladimir Mikheyev towards his main stack. We've got 6 turns until Tamarkan declares war on us, and we'll have to be careful with that because we are very much surrounded. But we'll be looking to take Stormvrak Mount with Medora and Osinov's army, and I thought we had 3 here, but now we have 2. Okay, well, whatever. Wait, that was this turn, right? Why did I think there were 3? I don't know. Either way, we'll get those up and running. We'll send him to Stormvrak Mountain. Then we're going to have him raid the Tower of Torment for a while. See if we can't get Boris Ursus to come back. I would have loved to have done that with this army, but it's alright. Tzarina Katarin's going to move to the Writhing Fortress before hunting down the rest of Archaon's territories. And we will keep advancing and hopefully keep on growing. We do have another army coming in after all, and then retrofits for other armies. Got to watch out for Wulfric moving in. Still lots of fun to be had by the looks of it. What a fun campaign. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. Stay tuned for more. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.